I often think about what it would be like to not understand potential, like true potential of each person. You know, you hear different coaches and life coaches, all these work at your best potential. Like, what is that? And so, because potential is it static? It isn't. It's just sitting there, and all you have is just enough of your potential. And you know, I wasn't the best student in the world. I think I'm making it up now as a doctor, as I'm writing books and speaking and teaching and all that fun stuff. But I wasn't the best student. I played a lot, class clown kiddo. You know, growing up I struggled. ADD kid. Now I guess I'm an ADD entrepreneur. But it's the teachers. Whenever we'd have progress reports, I would be like, "Oh no, here it comes! Like here it comes." You know, Eddie has such potential, but he's not utilizing it. He's not taking advantage of it. And that's what they would always say. You know, E for effort, Eddie for effort. Eddie would always put in effort, but never get to his full potential. It's a nice way of saying your son sucks, and he's slacking, and he's not good enough right now. But maybe one day, if he gets his head out of his rear, he might live up to his potential. Yeah. It hurts my thinking because everything has worked to it. But when we get rid of the external things of who we are, there's an internal potential. That when it comes to health, we never really think about that. You know, the potential of the external, what I mean by it is, let's just say you're working on your golf game, or you're working on martial arts, or you're working on being a better artist, or you're working on being a better hairdresser, or you're working on being a better X, whatever that is, doctor, lawyer. It doesn't matter, whatever you're working on. Maybe you're working on being a better athlete, or better mom, or better dad, spouse. It doesn't matter. You have to work on that because we all have a potential, but you can work on it and hone your craft and get better at what you want to be better at. Here's the thing. When we come down to, our health and what's inside of us, how do we make that better? I call it weller, right? Healthy body, healthy mind, healthy relationships. And so getting weller. So when I talk about the potential, do we all have the same when it comes to our health? There's two things that we're fighting, of course. One is our stinking thinking, everything that's going on in our headspace. And then the other side of that is whatever our DNA mapping is. Bruce Lipton talked about the biology of belief. He's a PhD, and he was talking about the biology of belief and how your beliefs change not only your thoughts, but it changes your DNA. Yeah. How's your blueprint change? And therefore you're shifting and making a tweak to your potential. So then I think, as I have taught seminars and different things, I think I was blessed. A friend of mine named Sue has given me this acorn because I used to do seminars where I'd hand out a small acorn. And I'd hand out this small acorn and say, what is the potential of this acorn? So what is it? Obviously, this is a fake one, but it doesn't matter. It's symbolic. What do we think what this is? It's an acorn. And a tree sheds the acorns. It's an oak tree. Sheds an acorn. And not just one or two of them, but hundreds of them. And not all of them live to their potential. Because some are fortunate enough to get buried, find a little crevice, sand covers that, water initiates the growth, and then now this thing eventually sprouts and grows into a oak tree. Not all of them make it because there'd be trees all over the place and there wouldn't be any room for growth because the soil would be taken over. But what about us? What about our healing potential? What are we able to do? How are we able to break through? How are we able to let go of what we thought we could be and be what we thought we could be? See, we live in a world of compare. And that world of compare, it takes us to, I don't have muscles like you do. I'm not as tall as you do. I don't have nice hair like you. I'm not. Well, stop. You have to live to your own potential. An acorn doesn't look at another sprouted tree, whatever they're doing, and going, wow, I wanted to be an aspen. That sycamore, gosh, what a nice looking tree. Why aren't I? I'm stuck as an oak tree. See, it doesn't do that. It just lives to its best ability by living to the potential of how God created it, just like us. And so when we find ourselves maybe overweight, sluggish, body breaking down, we're tired. Yes, we're doing this thing called aging. We are. And as we age, the body's in a state of flux as it's always adapting. However, every single day we have a different chance to live at a different potential. And it's not static, ever. Nothing is ever static. We are not a pond. It is not just laying there stagnant. We are a river. It's constantly adapting. It's constantly evolving, changing to the stressors of life that we give it. And so those stressors are really, really important. Are they a eustress, EU stress? It's called eustress, which is actually a constructive stressor, or is it a distress? Yeah, there's two different stressors. Going to the gym. You're exercising, is it a constructive stressor? Yes, because you're causing the muscle to become damaged, and therefore you go home, have a healthy amino drink, or whatever you do, you better. And there's got to be a way to fuel the body based on the stress that you gave it. Think of any stress that we give the body. It should be constructive, but also we're always in the destructive mood. We always have, drama, emotional trauma, physical stress, emotional stress, chemical stress, electrical stress. We're around all of them getting bombarded nonstop. So all of these things are occurring. So how is our body adapting? And it adapts by the power of the nervous system, because the nervous system is always aware of what's going on. Like I'm standing right now. And as I'm standing right now, I'm not thinking about standing. I'm just standing. But something's thinking about me standing as my skeleton is being held by muscles, and those muscles are engaged to a thought without me thinking. See, there's a subconscious innate thought, and then there's an educated thinking thought, conscious thought. And so those thoughts are going back and forth. I'm talking to you, looking at this lens, in the hopes that somebody on the other side of that lens is understanding what it is that I'm saying, without me thinking about all of the other millions, literally, of functions that are going on inside of me right now. Because I have a potential of being a better being based on what I give it, physically, emotionally, spiritually. What are we giving our body? And when we give our body, it adapts. And this is why it's so important. What potential are you living at right now? We have to stop the game of compare. But what potential are you at? Where are you at right now? What do you want right now? Where are you going right now? Right now. Not tomorrow or not yesterday, because you can't take yesterday with you. It's amazing how many people want to do that. Remember, I used to be able to do this. I can't now. Well, it's not cool. Great. It's a nice story. Stop. Because your body's listening. And then when it's listening, what we do is we take this trash can and take our trash into tomorrow. That's what we do. And when we take this into tomorrow, we should take our experiences, maybe what we've learned, how we've adapted. Well, I don't want to do that again. I'm going to do it this time, a much better way. That's what it's about. We don't take that yesterday, because when we take the yesterday, there's no way you can live to your potential right now. And when you can't live to your potential right now, what does that do? That keeps you living in a world of lack, darkness, toxic, less than. You're inhibited. You can't grow. And then when you do that, you live in a world of compare, not only of others, but even of yourself. See, if I were to think that way and be that way, then Eddie, with his potential in high school, how did that kid who graduated high school with a 10 on his ACT, yeah, that's right, me, a 1.9 grade point average at the time, third grade reading level is what I tested my reading level at in 12th grade. So if I would have lived according to what my potential was then and who I was then, I wouldn't be who I am today. Again, I don't take yesterday's pain into tomorrow's pleasure. I choose to live by it. And then what happened? I didn't stop. That's what happened. I didn't stop. I struggled through school. Years and years and years of school. 9 years of college. I struggled through it. Because I would change my degree 3 times, or major, I should say, 3 times. And so in that process of changing that, you have to take different classes. I've got credits coming out of my ears. Maybe I'm not going to school right now, but I'm always learning. I'm always growing because I want to change my potential. And that's what we should do. I'm trying to do that physically. Right now, physically, I'm one of the best shapes of my life in my 50s. How did that happen? What happened to your prime when you're in your 20s and 30s? Was I in decent shape then? Yeah, but it's a different potential. It's a different growth. That's what this is about. And so, again, in the process of taking care of you, what are you doing to your wallet? Are you changing and tweaking its potential? Because are you just going to accept just enough? I don't want to live that way. Are you changing your spiritual connection? So the potential of you getting closer to God is there. Are you tapping into that so you can focus on that? Yeah. Little tangent. I was going to church, one of the first churches I've ever went to. I was in my late 20s. Yes, that's true. First church I ever went to in my late 20s. And I got involved with the church. I really got involved. And in the process of getting involved, I wanted to change my potential of how I can serve and give at the church and how they do their mission trips and all their different ways of running the church. Because it's straight up business. And I got involved so much so that I really got to learn about the head pastor, the lead pastor. And it left a really bad taste in my mouth. Really bad. There was doing some really not so cool things, very, very shady things. And I left the church. I left the church because I didn't have anything to compare it to. However, I was also had an expectation of that person, and that person didn't live to the expectation. So the potential of me getting closer to God was shut off because if that's going to be my, quote, leader and bringing me closer to God, I'm leaving the church. You don't go to church for the messenger. It's hard. You don't go to church for the messenger. You go for the message. Even though you like to hear the music by certain artists, if you will, certain pastors, people can do the best they can, but it's not that person. Sure, but you're there for the message. That's why you're at church. So what are you hearing from your boss? What are you hearing from your spouse or those that you love? What are you hearing from your children, friends, co-workers, people at the store? What are you listening to? Hearing it's one thing. What are you listening to? Because it's going to shift your potential. When I think of the potential that's inside of me, as I always talk, I love factoids about the body. And so I hear about how the body's doing. Like right now, my heart's beating. It's crazy. And thousands of gallons are being pumped every single day. Crazy. I'm not thinking about it. Something's in control of that. So what is my potential to make sure that that's working the right way? I have my spine checked to make sure I'm neurologically sound. I want the neurologic integrity of my spine working the right way. Heck, if you can have tooth decay, you can have spinal decay. But then how are you fueling the body? I like to, every once in a while I cheat and you feel it. You're like, gosh, I shouldn't have eaten that. That was No, you did eat it. Enjoy it. But remember the experience so you don't have to repeat yesterday's pain and bring it into tomorrow's pleasure. Because again, oh man, that one time I had too much tequila. Every time I smell it, I get sick. There's a reason for that. Your body doesn't want that toxin. And for you to toxify the system and slow it down because you give up your potential. Yeah. We need to grow. We need to flow. We need to be the best being of who we are. And how do we do that? We think about the things that we want, and then we surround ourselves with individuals that are going to help us get there, because when you do that, you then can serve others with the gift of who you are. I always say that I never want to be a burden on anybody. I don't. And if I'm not going to be a burden on anybody, then I have to take care of me. See, it's not a selfish thing. It's a serving thing. I have to serve me first. People use the analogy when in the airplane, right? When the oxygen comes down, you put yours on first. There's a reason for that. Because if somebody else is in panic mode, then what are you going to do about it? You can't serve them because you're losing your own oxygen. That's what happens in a plane, but that's what happens in life. And I sure hope that you take a moment and stop and just go, okay, what am I hurting right now? What is eating me up right now? What is hurting me? What is taking me from me? I don't want to do this anymore. I don't like this thing. Then why are you doing it? Do you feel forced into the job that you have? What are you doing? Now, I think a few podcasts, I spoke about a woman named Amy at the grocery store, and she just hated her job and she was miserable. And I think about the potential of of who she is, but she chose the job that she got hired on. Are you doing that? Are you going to school for you? Are you going to school for your family because that's what you're supposed to do? Why are you doing that? Are you doing that job and career because you feel like you're stuck and, oh crap, I can't quit. I can't make a shift because if I make a shift, what's going to happen? I'm going to lose money and I got bills coming in and oh my gosh. Yeah. As my parents have God bless them, they're no longer here. And so, but they've, had nothing and then grew into millionaires and lost everything. And then grew back into millionaires and then lost everything. And grew back into millionaires and then finally lost everything. And that was enough for my dad. He gave on up. My mother's like, come on, we can do it one more time. Because mom saw the potential. Dad was defeated. And then he took them both down. Again, it's a choice. Are you going to choose to be in that relationship that's not allowing you? I'm speaking to the choir. I know, you're hearing it. I'm hearing me. I'm looking in the mirror right now. Are you living a life of less than because you saw potential in this relationship and it's not coming to fruition because both parties are not coming together and working towards a vision together? Happens all of the time. I see it with patients every single week. Oh, not just one or two patients, like a bunch. And I have those conversations with them. Healthy body, healthy mind, healthy relationships. We're surrounded by relationships. And if we are you living to your fullest potential in all of those so you can be the best version of you? I don't know if you are. Who am I to say? A zebra doesn't look at a giraffe and go, wow, your spots are awful. And the giraffe doesn't go, wow, I would not want those stripes. They're just being who God created them to be. And I think that's what we need to do right now. Right now. So I am in the process of packing my office up right now. I've got a video to shoot for my daughter and doing some things. And she's in a dance event tonight and those kind of things. And then I thought, she practices all of the time so she can get ready for this show because she wants to change her potential of when she performs. You want to build on that. And so that's what I do when I do the chiropractic that I do. I work on the adjustment. I focus on the adjustment. I appreciate it. I respect it because I want to create a different potential for those that are laying on my table. And I shift that vertebrae in their spine and their nervous system turns alive again. That's what I want to do. That's what I focus on. And so this is why when you find yourself in traffic, or looking around the gym and going, wow, I can't be like her. I can't be like him. You see all these different houses going, maybe one day, I don't know how they do it. What do these people do for a living? Jeez. You've heard it. If not, you've thought it. You have to be your best version. And when you're doing that, you feel like, oh, my tummy's flat. I feel good. This feels nice. Well, you worked at that. It takes effort to work. If it takes effort to stuff your mug and grow a belly, it also takes the effort to fuel the body and exercise so you do not have a belly. It's a choice. Both have a potential to be overweight or to be in shape. What do you want? It's what you want. You can focus and open up your wallet, your bank account, and go, holy cow, there's nothing in there. I suck. Or you go, I need to make a shift. Trust me, this has happened to me recently financially. There's some not so good things happen to me, and that's okay. That was yesterday. I know what I'm capable of because I know my potential. And if I know my potential, then I'm going to work on that so I can be the best version of me. And in reciprocation of that, what happens is you get paid for your time and you start to make money. You can't take the darn stuff with you anyway. So just do the best you can with what you have. Because at the end, you only want one thing. Time to share with other people, to create experiences. But you have to do that because of what your potential is. If you're going to be that mighty oak, you need to focus on the environment that you're in, focus on the potential of who you are and what you're capable of, and also understand of how you were created by this unbelievable divine being that created you to be something that you never have thought in a million years you could ever, no scientist could ever put this thing together, ever. So there's an intelligence that did that, and it knew you before you were born. And if it knew you before you were born, it knew your potential. Because God made more employers than employees. Yes, but regardless of whatever you are, which one you are, the entrepreneur or the employee, it doesn't matter. You're still adding to humanity by living to your fullest potential. Are you? You know, my dad was always said, Eddie, if you ever have to ask for a raise, that's the day you quit, because they are not seeing your potential, but you're also not producing. Therefore, you're not living to your own potential. That's what it's about. You want to be a better student? Work at it. You want to be a better athlete? Work at it. You want to be a better spouse? Work at it. So you change your potential. And as you do that, your DNA changes. Your DNA will adapt to what you give it. It just will. Give it good thoughts, and things shift. They just will. The Biology of Belief. Look it up on YouTube. It's pretty wild. Bruce Lipton. Watch that. It'll blow your mind. And so this is why it's so important to understand that when we let go of what we thought we should be and be who we are right now, and again, more importantly, writing a vision of what you want in your life. Like here, I grew up in a city. I grew up, in the downtown Chicago, and then we moved out to the suburbs, and now here I'm currently in St. Louis and in the city again. And so there's people all over. There's 45,000 cars that drive by my office every day. And so I think of all these things, but I'm also looking at 90 acres right now so I can get away. And so I'm writing a vision of that. This is what I want for my life. So I can create different experiences, not only for me, but for others, by the things and energy and work that I put into it. So I shift the potential of my status of my life. I'm not going to live here forever. Thank God. This world's nuts. But in the meantime, I'm going to do the best I can with what I am right now. And we all need to have that mindset. If it's truly a getting weller thing, it's not about Eddie Weller. It's just my last name. Jeez. Getting weller. You're never well. You're always in the process of getting weller. And if you are, what are you doing about that? You're trying to create a healthier body, a healthier mind, and healthier relationships. That's what it's about. And when you do that, you're living to your full potential. Think good things. Keep your head on straight. Have a great day.